Aloha friends and welcome to my channel, Tasty Healthy. Today we are making one of my favorite recipes. It's so yummy and delicious. Can be used as part of a meal, as a snack, or dessert. And it's super simple and easy. It is homemade applesauce. Super yummy. So I'm starting out with 8 apples. Go ahead and peel all these apples. I think with apples, the smaller the better. It seems like the bigger ones seem to oxidize more and go bad, go rotten faster. So it's just better to get smaller apples. I think you can use any kind of apple. A lot of people like the really tart granny apple for the applesauce. You can use like a mixture, or you can use the red. In Hawaii, we have mountain apple, which is a little bit different. I've never made this recipe with mountain apple. I don't know if I would. Mountain apple is a little bit different. Super good, but a little bit different. So we're going to go ahead and peel off all the peels and cut the apples in half and half again. Cut out the core and then usually chop them all in half and then put them in the pan with 1/2 cup of water. Make sure you're not using the water from the sink. Water from the sink nowadays is just not good water. It's better to use a bottled water, but make sure that the bottled water is BPA free. It's a plastic BPA chemical free. I know Fiji is, Kirkland, there's a few others. I think Fiji is the best for myself. It's my favorite. And then if you're going to use a filter, the analogic filter is the best. So yeah, super easy recipe. Basically just peel the apples and slice them and core them. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of freshly grated ginger. You could probably use dry ginger, but it's just not the same. Fresh ginger there's just so much, it's just so much better quality and so much better for you. So as I always say on my channel, fresh is best. I always want to use the fresh herbs. And yeah, I usually just buy large bags of ginger from the store, and then I will grate a big bunch of it, usually right before I make a recipe. Sometimes they store it for a day, and you could also freeze it. I haven't tried to freeze ginger, but I'm sure it's fine. If you have a lot more space in the fridge, or you want to keep it for longer, you don't want to have to keep grating it. You just want to grate like a big batch of it, then you could store it in the freezer in a Ziploc freezer bag. But yes, fresh is best. You always want to try to cook and eat on the first day that you go to the grocery store, and then freeze whatever you have left over, or maybe the next day, but try to freeze it by the first or second day. And definitely I would not eat anything past 4 days. It's just degrades and oxidizes, and just not as good a quality. The nutrients are not, there's not as many nutrients. I used to, as many of you know, I used to keep things in the fridge for like 7 days, sometimes longer, and eventually it caught up with me. I started having allergic reactions. So it's just a lot better to always eat the freshest ingredients. And if you're not going to be able to eat them between 1 and 4 days, you definitely want to freeze them. And if you're older, especially, because when you get older, you need a lot more nutrition. So makes a lot bigger difference in your body. Okay, I'm almost done with these apples. It takes a little while to cut apples, but some of you are probably a lot faster than I am. I'm definitely an amateur cook, so it takes me a little bit longer. I never learned how to cook when I was little, so I'm still learning. As many of you are, I know learning is a lifelong process, so we're always constantly learning. I think I have just one left here. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of freshly grated ginger. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Coconut oil is, as far as I know, the best oil to cook at high heat. Other oils degrade at a higher heat. So olive is a really nice oil, but olive has to be cooked at a lower heat, and I think probably it's better not to use olive to cook at all. Just add it in after. Okay, just about done cooking or cutting these apples. I bought the big ones the other day, and there was probably at least 3 or 4 of them that had gone rotten already, so that's why I think apples that are smaller are probably way better. Go ahead and pick up all these peels. If you're able to compost, that is amazing. It's great to compost and add the nutrients back into the earth in a garden. But if not, that's okay too. My mom taught me that all of that vegetable and fruit waste helps to break down the garbage too. So there's a lot of people that get upset if you don't compost, but it's actually okay. It actually also serves a purpose in the trash. So everything has a purpose. Okay, I think we're done here with these finish up these last apples. You always want to get organic ingredients, especially apples. Apples is one of the dirty dozen. Probably is still not as clean, even organic, but if you don't get organic, then it has a lot of wax and a lot of pesticides. That's why they call it one of the dirty dozen. So if you can, definitely get the organic apples. And there really is a difference in flavor and quality. A lot of people say, oh, there's no difference, but I've been eating organic for a long time, probably like at least 12 to 15 years. So you can definitely tell the difference. Okay, so I'm adding in the water here, adding in 1/2 cup. You can add a little bit more if you want, but the apples, they reduce down pretty well, so you don't need a ton of water. If you want it more soupy, of course, then you would, I kind of like my applesauce a little bit thicker, but if you want it thinner, then you can add another 1/2 cup. And then I added in 2 tablespoons of freshly grated ginger and 2 pinches of salt and 2 pinches of cardamom. And make sure to add 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. This helps it to emulsify and meld together all those delicious flavors. And then I usually put the applesauce, I'll put in little pint jars, like the little cur or ball pint jars. It's just a nice size if you want to snack, or you just want a quick dessert or snack. Sometimes I'll eat it for breakfast. Okay, and then you're gonna let it cook for about 20 to 30 minutes. And taking it out here after it's cooked, just till it's nice and tender. You can also cook it for like 10 to 15 minutes and just have like a stewed apple for breakfast if you want. That's also another option with this recipe. I used to eat stewed apples a lot, but lately I prefer the applesauce, which is why I'm doing this one. And then you want to take your immersion blender, just kind of put it on top first to break up the chunkiness. And then you can go ahead and stir. This really is one of the nicest recipes I've ever made. I just love applesauce. And applesauce is also a really good food if you have a loose stomach, if you're prone to throwing up or the runs. It's a very good binding food. So I used to throw up every year. I would get some kind of stomach flu or virus, and all the way until I was about 23. Yeah, 23. It was right after I moved back to Cali from New York, and I read it in a book. Applesauce is a very good binding food, and since age 23 I have never thrown up again, which is pretty amazing. So if you're prone to the same thing, definitely try some applesauce. It's nice because I used to be always scared to eat something when I was sick like that. But then after I learned about binding foods, I was no longer scared, and it gives you the energy, gives your body the energy to heal itself. So that's probably one of the best discoveries I've ever made. Because I literally could not stand throwing up, and it happened at least once a year, and I would cry, but you know, every once in a while you just learn something new that completely changes your life, and that one really did completely change my life. So it's amazing. Really, I haven't been sick for like 10 years. Sometimes, well, I had COVID, of course, and now I have the long haul COVID. But other than that, this year, other than that, I hadn't been sick in over 10 years. So, okay, so there you have it. Delicious, yummy, homemade applesauce. And all of these recipes, as some of you know, I did have COVID in January, and all of these recipes are really good for any kind of inflammation, any kind of allergic reactions, histamine. You don't have to take an antihistamine, just eat properly, and you'll keep those reactions down. I haven't had one since. About 3 months ago, my entire face blew up, and I started eating this way with all these recipes, coming up with a different diet, different recipes, and within a week all the swelling went down, and I felt better. I've been, probably way better since that happened. So it's been amazing. And so that's part of the reason why I'm sharing these recipes, because it made such a huge difference in my life. And I've seen a lot of people out there having these awful symptoms post COVID. This food would have been amazing during COVID if I'd known, but I didn't know at that time. I was eating whole foods, I was eating healthy. I was a very healthy person, but I just I didn't know that there's definitely a difference in nutrition and the foods that you eat, even when it comes to whole foods. So yeah. If you like this video, go ahead and click the like button. And if you're enjoying these yummy foods, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And mahalo, thank you for joining us today and every day that you join us. And aloha, friends.